Welcome to North Korea, the world's largest escape room. Imagine a place where rent is free, healthcare is free, education is free, and so is government surveillance. Yes, in North Korea, Big Brother isn't just watching. You're basically on a 24/7 reality show you never signed up for. Ever wondered what life is like in a country where wearing jeans is illegal and there are only 30 approved haircuts? Or where not crying hard enough at a leader's funeral could land you in a labor camp? Well, today we're diving into North Korea's invisible prison, a country located in East Asia, occupying the northern half of the Korean peninsula, with an area of approximately 120,000 square kilometers and a population of around 26 million people. Here, the Wi-Fi doesn't exist. The TV has one channel, and the news is whatever the supreme leader says it is. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. One North Korea's invisible prison. In North Korea, the government provides free education, housing, utilities, healthcare, and a portion of food supplies. It sounds sufficient, but the reality is far from it. Satellite images at night reveal that the entire country is engulfed in darkness, standing in stark contrast to the brightly lit South Korea and China. Power outages are frequent, medicines are scarce, and many people have to rely on the black market, despite an average salary of only around $100–200 per month. North Korea experienced a devastating famine in the 1990s, which resulted in the deaths of between 800,000 and 1.5 million people. Even today, food shortages remain a common issue, and people depend heavily on the state-controlled distribution system. Society is also strictly divided into social classes, with those loyal to the government enjoying far better living conditions than the rest. Personal freedom is almost non-existent. International internet access is completely banned, and news is tightly controlled. Watching movies or listening to music from South Korea is considered a serious crime, with punishments that can be extremely severe, even leading to execution. The government monitors everything, from travel and communication to mobile phone usage, and encourages citizens to report any suspicious behavior of their neighbors or even family members. Entertainment and lifestyle choices are no exception. Music, movies, and fashion are all heavily censored, with most media content focused on glorifying the regime. Domestic travel requires official permits, while leaving the country is nearly impossible. Education is primarily centered around political ideology. Military service is also extremely demanding. Men must serve for 10 years, while women are required to serve for 7 years. In the military, female soldiers often face discrimination and even harassment. Many have resorted to dangerous methods of abortion, such as rolling down steep hills or tightly wrapping their stomachs with belts to conceal pregnancies. The government even controls people's appearance. Wearing jeans is completely banned, and men are only allowed to choose from 30 state-approved hairstyles. With such strict regulations, life in North Korea feels like being trapped inside an invisible cage. 2. The Kim Dynasty, North Korea's cult of leadership. Since its founding in 1948, North Korea, officially known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, has been ruled by the Kim Dynasty, operating under a hereditary dictatorship. Power transitioned from Kim Il-sung to his son, Kim Jong-il, and is now firmly in the hands of his grandson, Kim Jong-un. Few places on earth exhibit such an extreme level of leader worship as North Korea. From early childhood, citizens are indoctrinated with tales of the Kim family's supposed greatness, often described in near-mythological terms. In everyday life, addressing the ruling family with anything less than full honorifics is strictly forbidden. Kim Jong-un even went so far as to ban the use of his name, forcing anyone who shared it to legally change theirs. The presence of the Kim family is inescapable. Massive statues of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il dominate city squares, the most famous being the 22-meter-tall Mansudae Grand Monument in Pyongyang. Their portraits hang in classrooms, hospitals, and even underground metro stations. Every household is required to display framed images of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il in a place of highest honor, meticulously cleaned each day as a gesture of reverence. any hint of disrespect is met with severe consequences. One man was reportedly imprisoned for using a newspaper featuring Kim Jong-un's photo as wrapping paper, while those who failed to grieve properly during Kim Jong-il's funeral were sent to labor camps. State-controlled media ensures that every speech by the leadership is broadcast with dramatic, reverent narration, while independent journalism and social media are non-existent. The only narratives allowed are those that glorify the Kim family. To further cement their godlike status, the regime has fabricated outlandish stories about its rulers. Kim Il-sung was supposedly born under a double rainbow, capable of making flowers bloom in the dead of winter. Kim Jong-il was said to have walked at just 3 weeks old and spoken fluently by 8 weeks. The legend building continued with Kim Jong-un, who, according to state propaganda, could drive at age 3, hit every target with perfect accuracy by 8, and compose revolutionary anthems in his spare time. This tightly controlled system of myth-making and enforced loyalty has transformed the Kim dynasty into an almost divine entity in the eyes of the North Korean people, ensuring their grip on power remains unshakable. 3. Kim Jong-un, luxury in the land of scarcity. While North Koreans face chronic food shortages and economic distress, Kim Jong-un enjoys a lifestyle of unparalleled extravagance. His refined palate includes imported Camembert cheese from France, A5 Wagyu beef from Japan, costing up to $550 per kilogram, high-end caviar, and vintage Burgundy wines. Some accounts suggest he once consumed nearly a dozen bottles of wine during a single feast. His love for premium coffee is equally indulgent, with reports indicating he spends close to $1 million annually on exclusive Ethiopian blends. Kim Jong-un's luxury extends far beyond gourmet dining. He smokes elite cigarette brands, with some packs priced at $45, while the government allocates millions each year to importing fine liquors to meet his preferences. His collection of high-end timepieces, valued at over $9 million, includes renowned brands like Patek Philippe and Jaeger-LeCoultre. As for transportation, he commands a fleet of around 90 luxury cars, among them a bulletproof Maybach S650 worth $1.8 million, as well as Rolls-Royce Ghosts, Bentleys, and customized Land Rovers. For air travel, he relies on 3 Soviet-era Ilyushin IL-62 jets, each extensively refurbished at great cost. On the water, he owns a 35-meter-long Sunseeker yacht, estimated at over $8 million. According to defectors, Kim Jong-un has more than 25 lavish estates scattered across the country, with his main residence, the Ryongsong Palace, featuring an underground command center, a private casino, and an impenetrable security perimeter complete with electrified fences and surveillance drones. To avoid potential threats during transit, he also has an exclusive railway network with bulletproof train cars. His obsession with security is reflected in his personal guard, an elite force meticulously trained in hand-to-hand combat, firearms, and counterintelligence operations. Additionally, North Korea channels roughly 26% of its GDP into military development, with a primary focus on nuclear weapons. Although Kim has engaged in diplomatic discussions with global leaders, he has made it clear that he has no intention of dismantling his country's nuclear capabilities. Kim Jong-un's private affairs remain one of the most mysterious aspects of his rule. He is rumored to host extravagant private events attended by hand-picked performers and young women, and some reports allege he maintains several secret relationships. Those who refuse his advances may vanish without a trace. His wife, Ri Sol-ju, a former singer, frequently appears at official events in designer outfits, but information about their children is highly restricted. The only widely known detail is that their second daughter, Kim Ju-ae, has been publicly acknowledged. Beyond his personal indulgences, Kim maintains absolute authority over North Korea's tightly controlled government. Though elections are held every 5 years, voters are presented with a single candidate, him. Unsurprisingly, his approval rating is always reported as 100%, reinforcing the totalitarian nature of his regime, where opposition is not only discouraged but simply does not exist. 4. The Korean DMZ, trash balloons, and K-pop warfare. Running along the infamous 38th parallel, the Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, stretches for 250 kilometers in length and 4 kilometers in width, effectively dividing the Korean peninsula in two. Despite its name, the DMZ is one of the most militarized borders on the planet, packed with tens of thousands of soldiers, extensive minefields, and high-tech surveillance equipment. Guard towers, infrared cameras, motion sensors, and snipers ensure that every movement is detected. The area is so tense that even a single misstep can trigger an international crisis. Beyond military standoffs, the ongoing rivalry between North and South Korea has led to some of the strangest forms of psychological warfare. North Korea sent over 15 tons of garbage, cigarette butts, and even human feces floating across the border using balloons. Retaliation for South Korean activists who had been sending anti-regime leaflets northward. South Korean activists, however, doubled down. Their counterattack involved more balloons carrying leaflets condemning Kim Jong-un, USB drives filled with banned Western movies and K-pop songs, and even packets of instant ramen, a luxury in famine-stricken North Korea. But perhaps the most audacious move came from the South Korean military, which cranked up giant loudspeakers positioned along the border to blast a mix of international news, reports on North Korea's human rights abuses, and irresistibly catchy K-pop tunes. These broadcasts, reaching up to 20 kilometers into North Korea, were a direct challenge to the regime's tight grip on information. Strangely enough, despite the ever-present danger, the DMZ has also become an unexpected ecological haven. Due to minimal human interference, rare species like the Amur leopard, Asiatic black bear, and red-crowned crane have found sanctuary in this accidental wildlife reserve. For a more humorous take on the absurdity of the DMZ, check out the Korean movie 645. It tells the story of a lost lottery ticket that accidentally crosses the border, leading to an unexpected and hilarious exchange between soldiers on both sides. Who knew one of the world's most dangerous borders could also be the setting for comedy? 5. Escaping North Korea, a deadly gamble. Few can afford. For decades, North Koreans have been fleeing their country in search of freedom, with estimates suggesting that between 100,000 and 300,000 people have successfully escaped since the Korean War ended in 1953. The number of defectors peaked in 2009, but saw a dramatic decline after Kim Jong-un assumed power in 2012. By 2022, only 67 individuals managed to flee successfully. To curb defections, North Korea has implemented increasingly strict security measures. The country's borders are fortified with landmines, armed patrols, surveillance drones, and trained sniffer dogs. Additionally, the regime closely monitors mobile phone communications to detect any interaction with networks that assist defectors. Families of those who escape are often subjected to harsh punishments or used as leverage to force defectors to return. One of the most extreme deterrents is public execution, which can even be applied to border guards who fail to prevent escape attempts. The cost of defecting has also skyrocketed, making escape nearly impossible for most citizens. A successful defection can now cost around $12,000, an amount equivalent to a decade's salary for an average North Korean. The usual escape route involves crossing into China, then traveling through Southeast Asia, often via Laos and Thailand, before reaching safety in South Korea. However, Beijing frequently cooperates with Pyongyang to capture and repatriate defectors, significantly increasing the risks for those seeking freedom. Looking ahead, the number of North Koreans fleeing the country is expected to decrease even further as the government tightens its control. Some citizens, facing a slightly improved economy, may opt to stay rather than gamble on a perilous escape. Yet, despite overwhelming odds, there will always be those willing to risk everything for a chance at a new life beyond North Korea's borders. Even after decades of conflict, the battle at the DMZ continues in the most unexpected ways. Which of these acts of retaliation surprised you the most? Let's talk in the comments. And if you want more incredible stories from around the world, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.